Are you a reader looking for a good book? Or are you an author who has written a book? Good Books Online is the show that brings readers and authors together.
We're back, and with us is Daniel Lamparelli, who is a graphic designer. Not a graphic artist, but a graphic designer, correct? We're going to talk about the difference between that. I liked your blog. And for those of you who haven't read it, it is on goodbooks.online. Just click on the blog. And right now I think it's the second blog behind the one for the episode here. So you'll find him. You'll get some really good information. In fact, I hired Dan to do my book cover for my upcoming novel called Chinaman's Chance. But one of the things that I liked about what you talked about in the blog, Dan, was that you were saying that there's a difference between a graphic designer and a graphic artist. But the way you described it in the blog is you said that basically an artist, when an artist does any type of artwork, a portrait, painting, whatever, it's up to the audience to decide what is meant by that. But a graphic designer should know going in what the intent is, and the intent should match the design.
Very true. But then again, that again speaks to the audience that is creating that opinion on the design.
Right.
It all depends on what the client wants or what they're looking for, what they're trying to portray to the masses or to the consumer.
Well, in this case, is particularly when we were talking about the, why authors should hire a graphic designer. It's, they always say you can't judge a book by its cover, but guess what? When it comes to the publishing industry, it's exactly the opposite, because that's the first impression you're going to have is the cover.
Well, very true. And if you work with someone who's a professional, you'll get a book with good graphics, something that's eye-catching, that makes a statement that's unforgettable, so to speak. It makes a statement to that consumer.
Well, yeah, and particularly if you're looking to attract an audience of readers. I mean, if your book cover sucks, what are the chances you think of selling a lot of books are? You're certainly not going to make it to bestseller. Because the problem is,
you'll definitely sell more copies with a quality cover over one that doesn't.
That's right. The problem is, everybody thinks that they can do it themselves. And, I mean, okay, you've written the book yourself, but even then, you probably hired an editor to make sure that it's nice and steam clean, that your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed. Because even though you can have a lot of, spell checkers and grammar checkers, they're not perfect.
Exactly.
They're very limited as to what they can do, and they're certainly not going to try to suggest proper phraseology, or how to remove those dangling participles and things like that. They're not going to catch that at all. So if you're going to spend money to have your book edited, why wouldn't you spend a little bit of money to have a really good cover, since that's going to be the first impression that someone's going to get of your book, and you only get one chance to make a first impression.
Exactly. But people are afraid of design rates, and every designer across the board has different rates.
Absolutely.
Some charge $500 an hour, whereas, someone like myself will just do a simple flat rate and just make it easy and give you as many revisions that you want.
Absolutely.
Now, someone who does a book cover themselves probably don't realize there's a difference between a rasterized image and a vectorized image. Obviously, rasterized, it's a fixed set of pixels, so it's going to be blurry the bigger it gets. Whereas if you do something vectorized, there's no pixelation whatsoever. It's a set of shapes, so to speak. So you can put that same image on a business card or a billboard, and there's no pixelation.
Yeah, but you want to know something? That's why I hire you, Dan, because what you just said there, that's like speaking Greek to me. And the beauty of it is, I don't have to worry about that because you know that.
Very true. I mean, that's what I was trying to do.
Yeah.
That's a big difference. So when you see bad design out there, it hurts me personally.
Same here.
I see it often. Driving down the street, you see different signs for different businesses, and you can pick out mistakes through maybe 3 out of 5 signs. You'll see a few mistakes here and there.
Right.
They should have moved the typography over. There's no balance. Just whatever it be.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, the whole episode we have here is called Your Book, Your Business. And it's not just your cover art, because if you're going to have a website, you need that to be designed by a graphic designer as well. Because again, if your website sucks, is somebody going to buy your book? Probably not. So when you talk about branding and all the things that you normally do for businesses, guess what? The same rules apply to authors.
Very true. Very true. Now, with the web presence is so big nowadays, and people are liking, pinning, sharing, all of these
Reviewing, right.
free advertising, you know? And so designers and authors are comparing book covers before they even get published.
And that's what they should be doing.
Agreed.
Because like I said, once that thing hits the shelves, you've pretty much, you're all in. And
That's it.
yeah. And and a lot of people, the reason that their book isn't selling, a lot of times it has to do because they've gone out and tried to design the cover themselves. And somebody's going to think, well, if that's all they can. If their cover sucks, then chances are so does their prose.
Very true. Very true.
And
But another thing, promotional items are another thing authors can think about.
right,
When they're doing book signings or
Absolutely.
clubs and such. I've worked in an office setting where we worked with ASI related vendors, and we get pens and pins and bags and whatever with the author's title
Well,
book
sure.
that they're showcasing.
well, how about this? Because you helped us, because with our Good Books Online, instead of printing out a business card, we're printing out bookmarks. And if you're actually printing books, wouldn't that be a great way to kind of brand you and give somebody something that they're going to use and they're going to keep and they're going to remember? Do a
Exactly.
branded bookmark.
Anyone who reads books
Yeah.
needs a bookmark. Let's be honest. And personally, I don't care for the books that are on Kindle and tablets and things of that nature. I like holding a book in my hand. Just like music, I like holding the record in my hand.
Right.
See the actual, the lyrics or the artwork to an LP record, things of that nature.
Yeah. And that's unusual, because usually guys your age, they're all digital. See, now me, I've got a leg in both camps. I work both sides of the street.
Oh, likewise, I do too. I can't have a record player in my car.
Right. Yeah. And by the way, folks, you can find out more about Daniel by going to goodbooks.online. Not only does he have a blog up there right now, but he's also part of the Dream Team. So when you go down and you click onto the writer stuff, you'll find him in several areas down there. Of course, chief among them is the book design. Because again, if you're getting ready to publish a book, you definitely want to put your best foot forward, and Daniel can help you with that. Now, that being said, obviously, most of the authors we're dealing with right now, we're not talking Stephen King. We're talking about people who have a day job. So one of the other things that's nice is he doesn't just do work for authors; he does work for businesses. In fact, that's how I found Daniel. So tell our viewers some of the other things that you do, some of the services that you offer for businesses.
It's endless. I run the gamut. I can do direct mail. I can do business cards, flyers, brochures, postcards, obviously logos, letterheads, signs, promotional materials, packaging. I run the gamut with what I'm able to do. I've even worked in screen printing shops doing color separation for t-shirt printing. And then I've also worked in sign shops preparing car wraps digitally and things of that nature. So, possibilities are endless if you can imagine it.
Yeah, it's funny that you said talking about car wraps. I was thinking of that. I've never seen an author do that, but it wouldn't be a bad idea. If you had
That's wonderful advertising, but you have to make sure that the fonts are big enough
Correct.
to see while you're going 50 miles an hour down
That's
the
right.
highway.
And that's why they need to hire a guy like you, right?
Exactly.
So in the blog you were talking about a famous branding. You were talking about famous logos like FedEx. And most people don't realize that there's an arrow in the FedEx logo.
That's true. I love when logos have those hidden symbols in the actual design. That's one of my favorite things that some designers do.
And that was designed by a big graphic design house. They literally had hundreds of designers working on this around the clock to come up with this. And the only reason they came up with it was their chief designer was moving the fonts, the letters closer and closer together, and all of a sudden he saw the little arrow pop up, and he thought, hey, that's cool.
I agree. It's rather neat. And we all know when FedEx is coming down the block. You recognize that logo anywhere.
Yeah, but the point is, though, you don't have to hire, a Madison Avenue design team and spend, millions of dollars to get branding done, to get logos done. You're very capable of doing that as well.
Oh, absolutely. Not by any means
Right.
do you have to hire or pay top dollar to get quality work.
One of the things that I also wanted to point out, because again, during the episode, we're calling your book your business. I mean, your book is your business, and particularly if you're going to write more than one book, branding comes into play.
Oh, certainly.
So-
Certainly does. That's why you don't want multiple logos. It
Right.
would just confuse people.
So what kind of advice can you give to authors if they're looking to get from obscurity to being a bestseller as far as branding their books, branding their websites, their social nets?
Oh, I mean, social media is free advertising. Get your name out there. You have to tell people that you are in existence, basically.
Right.
Branding is huge. I mean, if you have an idea, stick with that idea to the end. Don't change, your logo to 4 or 5 different designs. Have that one logo, be happy with that, and people will start to recognize.
Yeah, but you and I both know that there's a big difference between putting a logo on your website and putting a logo on the social nets. Like I said, you do that where you can convert it to all the formats, all the sizes, all the scales they need. Like I said, if they want to do a billboard, you can do that for them as well.
Certainly. As long as it's a vectorized image, you can put it on basically anything.
Do you have any other advice for authors as far as making their image, their brand, their book jump out from the herd? Because there's an awful lot of them. Like I said, I think I pointed out the fact in our last broadcast that last year alone, over 300,000 books were published in this country.
Yeah, that's amazing. Honestly, I would say create something that makes people stop in their tracks, that evokes interest. The book cover is basically the hook that will promote that book. So really take it seriously. And if you have an idea, go to a designer and come to me and talk and brainstorm and realize that, if it's not published, there can be revisions.
That's right.
I know some designers will charge per amount of revision or per revision. But if you have someone easygoing and is willing to work with you and your ideas, then really take advantage of it.
That's right. And the trick is too is you want to develop a relationship with a provider, and like I said, if you want to find out more about Daniel and have a free consultation, like I said, go to goodbooks.online. There's a form there, or you can pick up the phone and call us, and I'll be glad to put you in touch with Daniel. Like I said, I'm using Daniel to work on several covers for upcoming novels that I'm getting ready to release, and he'll be glad to work with you too. Because again, like you said, talk's cheap, print costs, and if you find out that you've made a big mistake after you printed all this stuff, you can't take that back.
No, you can't. And I've actually had businesses come to me that had rasterized logos that wanted to keep that logo.
Mm-hmm.
And I just image traced it in my programs, and now it's a vectorized image that they can put anywhere, whereas they were stuck with that one rasterized logo and couldn't put it on anything.
Well,
I also, long-lasting relationships are definitely what I strive for. I've had a gentleman up in Atlanta, Dan Cottrell. He asked for resume changes here and there. And, it's simple 2-3 minute problems that are cheap. Now, he came to me last week. We had been in touch for 6 months prior. And he is basically he's putting a new show on the Travel Channel called RV There Yet. And he came to me for that logo design just because he was comfortable working with me and he trusts me. And that's what every designer strives for.
yeah, well, like I said, the thing too is what's nice is the fact that if you've got both a book publishing business and a business, you can kill 2 birds with one stone.
Exactly, and you come to me with those problems that you may have.
Yeah, and that's also, that's right. And that's also nice about working with our dream team, because basically it's one-stop shopping for authors and businesses as far as all of your marketing concerns. And we communicate back and forth using technology. But the important thing is if you get everybody on the same page, then you don't get what I call the patchwork quilt method of marketing, which really doesn't work in the long run.